Well, good afternoon. My name is Howard Tipton, and I serve as the County Administrator for St. Lucie County, and this is our March 31st, 4/15 COVID-19 update. As of today, we have 6,096 confirmed cases in the state of Florida. Actually, those are Florida resident cases, 242 non-Florida resident cases. Yesterday, Florida's overall cases went up by 875, so one of our largest increases in a single day. St. Lucie County, we are currently at 33 cases, and we've had 2 fatalities. Martin County has 28, and Indian River is at 30 cases. This afternoon, I wanted to share with you my intent to authorize a safer-in-place order for St. Lucie County. We are watching the case numbers, and without robust testing, it's impossible to know exactly the health position of our community. Our geographic proximity to South Florida and our relationship with the Northeast United States also creates some concerns. And so to preserve community health and identify activities that are still okay, St. Lucie County is implementing the safer-in-place order that will go into effect this Saturday, April the 4th. This is not a shelter-in-place order. It is not that restrictive. It is a message to our community to stay in place when you can. It is a message to our businesses that if you can maintain the proper social distancing requirements, then you can stay open. If you cannot, then you should close. It preserves the ability to do the things that are important and necessary. This is especially true for our most vulnerable populations. But we need your help, especially in the business community, to make this work. Under this order, for example, construction is an allowable activity. Now on Monday, as I was driving in to work from my neighborhood, we have a utility project that's underway. I watched 5 individuals get out of a truck and then go to their job site. The fact that your job site is social distancing appropriate is fine. The fact that you had 5 individuals from a different household in the same truck sitting next to each other is not so good. So you're going to have to work with us here. But construction is an allowable activity. I want to make sure that we're keeping our workplaces clean and that they're regularly being cleaned during the day. Keep your contact with customers at a safe distance. I've seen a number of stores now that have lines that have been taped out so that their customers can maintain that safe distances, and that's the kind of attention to detail that we need to keep everybody safe, and I appreciate that cooperation. As part of St. Lucie County's efforts to reduce our business footprint during this time, all St. Lucie County buildings and offices, with the exception of critical mission and emergency offices, will be closed Fridays through the month of April. We continue to offer essential services during the week and critical services like utilities and 911 services 24/7. By reducing the number of our team roaming the community by 20%, I believe we are helping to keep our team and the community safer. We are working with the Economic Development Commission of St. Lucie County to help our businesses connect with the resources that are becoming available. Non-essential businesses that are unable to maintain the proper social distancing to keep customers and employees safe, as I've mentioned, should close. Businesses who have questions about this order and the impacts on them can call the EDC at 772-336-6258. We understand that these are incredible times for us. While we may have planned for a pandemic, actually working through it is a whole nother experience. I've only been doing this just about 4 decades, and I will tell you, I am making some of the strangest decisions that I have ever made in my entire career. But we do all of this to make sure that we're keeping our community safe and that we're keeping each other safe. With that now, I'd like to introduce the Chair of St. Lucie County Commission, Kathy Townsend, for a few remarks.
Thank you, Howard. So basically what I want to do is I know that over the last couple of weeks, you've all been given a lot of information and it's overwhelming. So I just want to try to simplify some things today and put some things into perspective. There was last week a question asked about Florida Power and Light, and I don't know that that question's ever really been answered. I've had conversations with Florida Power and Light. They, as well as the Fort Pierce Utility Authority, your Port St. Lucie Utilities, and our utility services will not be disconnecting and turning off any of your services. And there will be opportunities to work out your payments once all this passes. So I want you to know that the City of Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie, and the county, as well as Florida Power and Light, will not be suspending any of your services. So you can all rest comfortably in knowing that you will have the utilities that you need. In this order, I think there's going to be a lot of other questions that come up, and I want you to understand it's important that this is not a curfew. You are going to be allowed to go and do the things you need to do. You're going to be able to go out and about as long as you're practicing your safety and your sanitization and everything. We are not looking to go out there and have people arrested. It's because people are choosing to not follow the recommendations. So we feel that it's important to move a little bit further with moving towards this action. I've had several comments and complaints and emails over the last couple of days about parks and certain areas being closed. I'm going to reference one in general, and that is the Queens Cove. People, when you see a caution tape up there and you see gates closed and locked, it does not mean to climb over them. It means to stay away from them, please. And if you do not continue to follow these recommendations, you will lead us to have to close the facilities and then put law enforcement in place. We do not want to do that. We want you to go out. We want you to enjoy the parks that are there, walk your dog, keep your social distancing, and enjoy the wonderful things and opportunities that we have on the Treasure Coast. But there's a reason why certain things have been closed and locked up and tape is put there. So please, when you go up to an area, do not move forward if you see caution tape and gates locked. Golf courses are remaining open. However, I've also had calls, and an independent private course, we cannot say to them to close or stay open. It's up to the individual golf course. The county's golf course, Fairwinds, is closed at this time. And I know that Mr. Tipton referenced certain scenarios, and one of the scenarios I want to say to all of you is that if you're going to go golf, that's a wonderful thing. It's enjoying the fresh air, but you need to go individually in separate cars, and when you get there, you need to all have your own individual golf cart. If you and a husband and wife are going, obviously it's okay. Please go together and you can share a golf cart, but we want you to remain isolated and distancing of the 6 foot. We are looking at opening back up our Fairwinds golf course, but we will not do that until we know that all the procedures can be put into place to make it a safe golf course for you to be able to go there. Again, Mr. Tipton did give out the phone number that the EDC has. We want to encourage you. If you have questions, comments, please, that number has been set up. We do not want our businesses compromised any more than they are at this time. And I think it's really, really important for everybody to understand that this is not to hurt or to harm any of our businesses. It is simply to put a procedure in place so that you can move forward and you can do the best that you can to stay open for business. We want you to stay isolated. We want you to be able to have a work environment that's safe. And as long as you're doing that, we want you to remain open. I think that this is very, very important. And for me, especially, as well as I know the rest of my board, conversations I've had with both cities, as well as people in Martin and St. Lucie, I think as a commissioner, we all want you to survive. We all want you to remain open for business, but we want you to also do the safe precautionary measures, and that's what this is really about, is because we still have people not willing to follow the recommendations that we've tried to put out there. So in order to be safe, in order to stop this, this is why we have been led to be able to put this order in place. I want to close by just saying that I know that you all are working hard to understand this difficult time right now. And as many of you live just one crisis away from a dependency, we all recognize that. And I think we're all just hanging on to something that makes us feel safe, and we just want to find that okay right now. While the coronavirus has changed the world as we once knew it, the kindness of people is always a reminder that nothing can take away the unity of our great community and the crisis that we're going through today. I want to thank those of you that continue to email my office and call. My office remains open. I appreciate it when you call. I appreciate the kind words you've said. I want our staff to know that I've received multiple emails and texts thanking you for the services that you've been doing. And I think it's important for you to know that the community is recognizing the efforts from everybody as well as the press. And I want to end by again thanking the first responders, our medical professionals, our healthcare workers, and any of you that are on the front line today and every day keeping us safe. I just want to say thank you from all of us, because your selfless sacrifice is really our beacon of light right now during such a dark time in our world, and no amount of praise, gratitude will ever be enough for you. So because of your courage, you've given us all a fighting chance, and please just pay attention to the recommendations, be mindful of the orders that we have. We don't want to have to go further. We want you to all abide by the recommendations that we're putting out on this order, and just know from a business perspective, we love you, we embrace you, and we are just still trying to make it so that you can do your business and just do it safely. Have a great night.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the things that we do is none of this in a vacuum, and so we have obviously been in conversation with our neighboring counties as well as our municipalities as we've moved forward with this order. And I'd like to bring up now the Chair of Martin County, Harold Jenkins, for a few words. Chair Jenkins.
Good afternoon. My name is Harold Jenkins, Chair of the Martin County Board of County Commissioners. Martin County will be holding a special meeting this Friday, April 3rd at 9 a.m. Waiting until Friday will provide reasonable notice for our meeting. At our meeting, we'll discuss joining other Florida communities in adopting a safer at home order, and what that will look like in Martin County. Our goal is to collaborate with our neighboring counties to ensure the Treasure Coast is kept as safe and as secure as possible. We'll get through this together. Let's all stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and we look forward to working with you on that. And I will say, too, that we've been in conversation with Indian River County, and they are considering an order as well. And we just don't know exactly what that might look like at this time. But certainly as a Treasure Coast, we want to be as unified as we can as we move forward. Next, I'd like to invite Clint Sperber up to give a Health Department update.
Thank you, Howard. Clint Sperber, Health Officer of St. Lucie County. What's important to remember is these measures are in place because we currently do not have medicine to treat the virus, and there is no vaccine to prevent it. So that's really why you are seeing these measures happen in St. Lucie, our neighboring counties across the state and the country. Prevention is critical, and everyone has a responsibility to prevent the spread of the virus. So in St. Lucie County, as of 1 p.m. today, we have 33 cases. 31 are of St. Lucie residents, 2 of non-Florida residents. From a health department perspective, what our main job is, and there's several of them, but with this virus is we need to continue our contact tracing. When we identify a positive case, we need to work with those individuals. We need to issue our quarantine recommendations, our isolation recommendations, along with self-monitoring and some of the other nuances that we learn about when we speak to them. So our health department staff are also in communication daily with our long-term care facilities, dialysis centers, and our hospitals. We're working with our emergency management as well to identify strategies to help hospitals in case there is a surge needed in the community, to have a strategy where we could assist the hospitals to provide care in the community. So one thing that we will be sending out a little bit later today through the county is a news release to help recruit qualified medical professionals. This would be either licensed or non-licensed into our medical reserve corps to help in case the need arises. And also one thing that the state has done to help us out in each of our counties is they contracted with private ambulance companies to also go out to the long-term care facilities. So in St. Lucie County, there are 89 of them to help give us another set of eyes to make sure that those who are most at risk understand from the management perspective, if somebody does go into the facility, that they understand the guidelines that we've been sharing with them on a daily basis. They know how to do temperature checks to make sure that whoever's entering those facilities are capable and should be inside those facilities. Now, testing has been a big issue. We hear about it a lot across the country, across the state, and there have been a lot of efforts ramped up nationally as well as statewide to increase our testing capabilities. You know, from a state perspective, as of a day ago, I know we ranked number 4 in the country for testing. From a federal and state perspective, we're also focusing on where community transmission is taking place. We know that numbers have also increased, as Howard mentioned, and that is because testing has increased across the state. The turnaround time on the commercial labs has increased from 7 to 10 days to, in some cases, 1 day to 2 day turnaround time. So I'm not saying that's with every commercial lab, but that is one of the reasons why we are seeing a quicker turnaround time of testing.